Okay, now it's time we're going to make the orange, almond and whiskey cake. So we have in here 8 eggs. We're going to have 2 lots of sugar. You know there's 2 lots of sugar in the recipe. Right? Make sure it stays separate. But almond meal, 2 oranges, 2 lemons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these eggs. So I need 8 egg whites, 8 egg yolks. It's very important you're separating egg whites for whipping. If you don't get any of the yolk in there, and the bowl is completely clean, no grease, no oil, otherwise it affects how the meringue comes up. So we've separated our eggs. Let's just reserve the white for later on. In with the egg yolks, I'm going to put 150 grams of caster sugar. Mix this in. Just a light whisk. And then into this I'm going to zest the zest of 2 lemons and 2 oranges. When I zest, I'm going to do it over the bowl so the natural oils that come out when we're zesting go straight into the bowl. So all we're after here is just the coloured skin. So this is the yellow from the lemons, the orange from the oranges, not the white pith. It can be quite bitter underneath the skin. Keeping these citrus fruits because we're going to juice them later on for the syrup that goes on top of this cake. And the way we're going to get air into this cake is by whipping the meringue. The meringue is simply egg whites and sugar. So there's no raising agent in this, there's no baking powder, there's no self-raising flour. The only air we're getting into this is through the whipping of the egg whites, which we're going to do next. Okay, so I've got the 2 oranges, 2 lemon zests in here. Into that I put the almond meal and the flour. Just going to fold this in together. Set that aside while I do the meringue. So for the meringue you need a nice large bowl because they're going to come up a little bit, and a very flexible balloon whisk, very fine wired. Right. And also when we're making meringue, it's a very good idea to put some salt at the start. It helps the meringue to rise, to take on air. Once we get to this stage, say that's about halfway there, I'm going to rein in the caster sugar while stirring. Obviously, if you have a mixing bowl at home, a sandwich or a home, would use that at this stage as well. Keep whipping until it's quite stiff. Just looking for it to hold its line there. I'm pretty happy with that. It's just standing up nicely. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the meringue into here. First of all, I'm just going to take about a quarter out. Just mix it in gently, just to start the process off. Just going to soften this mix up. It's going to allow it to take on more air. And then little by little, folding in the meringue. What we're really trying to do here is preserve all the air bubbles that we got from making the meringue. So we're being very gentle and just folding. Last bit in now. So as soon as that's homogeneous, it's all one texture again, it's ready to go into the cake tin. And normally we cook this one in a ring, but because we're cooking this at home, I'm going to supply you with 2 of these. So I'm going to just divide the mixture between the 2, or just give it a quick spray, just to be sure. Just divide this between the 2. It will still rise quite a bit, this one. into a 150-degree oven, about 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, the cake's just about to come out of the oven. And what we're going to do, we're going to make a little syrup. The syrup we're going to put over the cake, it's going to soak in, so we're going to do it while the cake's still warm. So in here I've got the juice of both of the lemons and both of the oranges that I had before. I'm going to warm that up with some sugar, a little cinnamon stick which I'm just going to crack just to release some of the flavours in it. So I'm just pressing it up there. And of course some whiskey. Basically I just want to bring it to a simmer to get the harshness of the alcohol out of it, but also to dissolve the sugar. So now I'm going to check my cake. So it looks pretty good. I'm just going to check, the way to check if the cake is ready, we're just going to put a skewer in there, or in this case a toothpick. What I'm looking for is it to come out completely clean, so no wet mix left on there, and from the centre, not from the edges, because that's where it's going to cook the last. Pop this in here, come back, and there's nothing at all on that. Feels quite firm, so it's now ready to be syruped. And what I'm going to do is just to aid in the syrup getting in there, I'm just going to use this toothpick, make a few holes. It's just going to aid in the syrup getting right into the cake, being absorbed evenly. Something you can see quite often in Turkish and Middle Eastern desserts, where they have a cake that comes out of the oven, and quite often they'll paint a rose syrup or a spiced syrup of some kind, and be quite heavy with it. It gets absorbed right into the cake. All I'm looking for here is the sugar to dissolve. So as soon as it boils, it's going to be ready. Boiling rapidly now, and while it's hot and while the cake is still hot, start adding it on. Being quite generous because I want it to soak right in. First I'll do one, then I'll do the other, then I'll come back and do the first one again. A little bit of time to settle in. Keep repeating this until all the sugar syrup is done, everything has been absorbed. And then allow it to cool just at room temperature. And it'll be ready to serve. So, there we have it.
Orange almond whiskey.